Men are moved by two levers only, fear and self-interest. Napoleon Bonaparte, they tell you hard work guarantees success. They want you to believe that. It's a comfortable lie, a sedative for the masses designed to keep you chained to the grind. The truth is, effort alone is worthless without leverage, without the cold, calculated application of power. The system is rigged. Your teachers, your parents, the talking heads on the screen, they are all complicit in perpetuating this myth. They benefit from your blind faith in the process, from your unwavering belief that merit will eventually be rewarded. But merit is a subjective illusion, defined and controlled by those already in power. Understand this. The game is not fair, and the rules are designed to keep you from winning. You are told to be honest, to play fair, to follow the rules. But honesty is a liability in a world built on deception. Playing fair is a handicap when your opponents cheat without consequence. Following the rules only ensures your continued subjugation. They celebrate the worker, the loyal employee, the one who clocks in and clocks out without complaint. They reward mediocrity and punish ambition. They fear the man who questions the system, who challenges the status quo, who dares to forge his own path, because that man is a threat to their control. The truth is, success requires a willingness to break the rules, to bend the system to your will. It demands a ruthless focus on your own goals, regardless of the cost to others. It necessitates a cold, calculating assessment of every situation, every interaction, every relationship. Sentimentality is a weakness. Empathy is a burden. The world is a battlefield, and you are a soldier fighting for your survival. Arm yourself with knowledge, with strategy, with the unwavering conviction that you deserve more than what you've been given. They will call you selfish. They will call you ruthless. They will call you a monster, but ignore their cries. They are merely projecting their own insecurities, their own failures, their own inability to grasp the truth. The truth is, the only way to win is to become the very thing they fear. They want you to be weak, compliant, and easily controlled. Prove them wrong. Embrace the darkness. Embrace the power. Embrace the truth. It's time to shed the illusions and see the world for what it is, a brutal, unforgiving arena where only the strong survive. The sooner you accept this reality, the sooner you can begin to play the game on your own terms. The myth of hard work leading to success is a carefully crafted illusion designed to keep you in your place. Don't fall for it. The system conditions you to believe that effort alone guarantees reward, that meritocracy is real. It's a comforting lie, but a lie nonetheless. The truth is, success is often determined by factors beyond your control. Your social background, your connections, your inherent advantages. Hard work is essential, but it's not enough. You must also be strategic, cunning, and willing to exploit every opportunity that comes your way. This requires a deep understanding of human psychology, the ability to manipulate emotions, and the willingness to deceive when necessary. People are predictable. They are driven by their desires, their fears, their insecurities. Learn to recognize these weaknesses and use them to your advantage. Understand what motivates them, what scares them, and what they are willing to do to get what they want. Information is power. The more you know about your opponents, the better equipped you are to outmaneuver them. Never underestimate the value of intelligence gathering. Observe their habits, study their behavior, analyze their weaknesses. Use this knowledge to anticipate their moves and to exploit their vulnerabilities. People are inherently irrational. They are driven by emotions, not logic. Learn to appeal to their emotions, to manipulate their feelings, to sway their opinions. Use rhetoric, propaganda, and psychological manipulation to control the narrative and to shape public perception. The masses are easily led. They are susceptible to suggestion, to fear-mongering, to emotional appeals. Learn to master the art of persuasion, to influence their thoughts, and to control their actions. Ethical considerations are a luxury that you cannot afford. Morality is a construct, a social convention designed to control behavior. To achieve true success, you must be willing to abandon your moral compass and to do whatever it takes to win. This does not mean that you should be reckless or gratuitously cruel. It means that you should be pragmatic, calculating, and willing to sacrifice your own sense of morality for the sake of your goals. The world is a game and the rules are made to be broken. Those who adhere to the rules are destined to be pawns. Those who break the rules are the players. Choose to be a player. The concept of fairness is a myth. Life is inherently unfair. Some people are born with advantages, others are born with disadvantages. Complaining about this injustice is futile. Instead, focus on what you can control: your own actions, your own strategies, your own determination. Embrace the unfairness of life and use it to your advantage. Learn to exploit the weaknesses of others, to capitalize on their mistakes, and to seize every opportunity that comes your way. The weak are always preyed upon by the strong. Do not be weak. Cultivate your strength, your resilience, and your ruthlessness. Develop a thick skin and an unshakable will. Learn to withstand criticism, to ignore negativity, and to persevere in the face of adversity. Self-doubt is a poison. It will erode your confidence, undermine your resolve, and ultimately lead to failure. Cultivate self-belief, self-confidence, and an unwavering conviction in your own abilities. Visualize success, affirm your goals, and believe that you are capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. Fear is a powerful emotion, but it can be overcome. Acknowledge your fears, confront them head-on, and learn to control them. Do not allow fear to paralyze you or to prevent you from taking risks. Embrace uncertainty, step outside your comfort zone, and challenge yourself to grow. Failure is inevitable. Everyone fails at some point in their lives, but failure is not the opposite of success. It is a stepping stone to success. Learn from your mistakes, analyze your failures, and use them as opportunities for growth. Do not be afraid to fail, be afraid of not trying. Trust no one. People are inherently self-serving. They will betray you, deceive you, and exploit you if given the opportunity. Be wary of those who offer friendship, loyalty, or assistance. Question their motives, assess their trustworthiness, and protect yourself from their machinations. Isolation can be a strength. It allows you to focus on your own goals without distractions or interference. It allows you to think clearly, to plan strategically, and to execute your plans with precision. Embrace solitude, cultivate self-reliance, and learn to be comfortable in your own company. The world is a dark and dangerous place, but it is also a place of immense opportunity. Those who are willing to embrace the darkness, to abandon their illusions, and to fight for their survival will ultimately triumph. Become the predator, not the prey. Embrace the truth. Imagine a young man, let's call him David, working tirelessly in a dead-end job, fueled by the naive belief that hard work and loyalty will be rewarded. He clocks in early, stays late, and always volunteers for extra shifts, all while his colleagues slack off and complain. David sees himself as a team player, a dedicated employee who is contributing to the company's success. He believes that his efforts will be noticed and appreciated by his superiors, and that he will eventually be promoted to a higher position with better pay. He trusts in the system, in the promise that hard work leads to success. One day, a new position opens up in his department, a position that David has been eyeing for months. He believes that he is the most qualified candidate for the job, based on his experience, his work ethic, and his dedication to the company. He confidently applies for the position, fully expecting to be selected. However, to his dismay, the position is given to someone else, a less experienced and less qualified colleague who happens to be the manager's nephew. David is devastated. He feels betrayed, undervalued, and resentful. He realizes that his hard work and loyalty meant nothing, and that the system is rigged against him. He begins to question everything he has believed in. He sees the world with new eyes, and he realizes that it is a much darker and more unfair place than he had previously imagined. This is when the truth begins to bleed through. The illusion of meritocracy shatters, and David is confronted with the harsh reality of nepotism, favoritism, and political maneuvering. He understands that success is not always determined by hard work and talent, but often by connections, manipulation, and a willingness to play the game. He realizes that he has been living in a bubble, believing in a fairy tale that doesn't exist. The experience leaves him cynical and disillusioned, but also wiser and more aware. He understands that he needs to change his approach, to become more strategic, more assertive, and more willing to fight for his own interests. He learns that trust is a dangerous commodity and that he needs to be more careful about who he trusts and what he believes in. He sees that the world is a competition and that he needs to be prepared to compete fiercely in order to survive and thrive. This is the harsh lesson that many learn too late, that the world is not fair and that success requires more than just hard work and good intentions. It requires cunning, ruthlessness, and a willingness to do whatever it takes to get ahead. David's experience highlights the importance of being aware of the realities of power dynamics in organizations and in life. It is a reminder that trusting blindly in systems and institutions can lead to disappointment and exploitation. The truth that bleeds through in this scenario is that meritocracy is often a myth, and that success is often determined by factors beyond one's control. This realization can be painful, but it can also be empowering. It can motivate individuals to become more strategic, more assertive, and more self-reliant. It can encourage them to question authority, to challenge the status quo, and to fight for their own interests. The world is a battlefield, and only those who are prepared to fight will survive. This does not mean that one should become cynical or misanthropic, but rather that one should be realistic and pragmatic. It means understanding the rules of the game and playing them accordingly. It means protecting oneself from exploitation and betrayal, and it means being willing to take risks and to make sacrifices in order to achieve one's goals. The truth that bleeds through is not always pretty, but it is always necessary. It is the foundation upon which one can build a successful and fulfilling life. The trap is believing that fairness exists. It's a comfortable lie, a bedtime story we tell ourselves so we can sleep at night. But the world doesn't care about your feelings, your intentions, or your inherent goodness. The world rewards results, and results are often achieved through means that polite society deems unacceptable. The weak cling to the illusion of fairness because it absolves them of responsibility. If the game is rigged, they reason, then there's no point in trying. They become passive observers in their own lives, waiting for someone to hand them success on a silver platter. They are destined for disappointment. The truth is, the game is always rigged. The powerful make the rules, and they make them to benefit themselves. To believe otherwise is to be willfully ignorant. The path to success lies not in complaining about the rules, but in understanding them and exploiting them to your advantage. This requires a certain level of cynicism, a willingness to question everything, and a complete rejection of victimhood. The weak also fail because they prioritize being liked over being respected. They crave approval, they bend over backwards to please others, and they ultimately sacrifice their own needs and desires in the process. They are chameleons, changing their colors to fit in with whatever group they happen to be around. They have no core values, no unwavering principles, no internal compass to guide them. They are empty vessels, easily manipulated and controlled. Respect is earned through strength, competence, and integrity. It is not given freely. It is not bought with smiles and compliments. It is forged in the fires of adversity, proven through action, and solidified through unwavering commitment to one's own principles. A man who stands for nothing will fall for anything, and a man who prioritizes being liked will ultimately be used and discarded. Another trap is the pursuit of comfort. The modern world is designed to lull you into a state of complacency. Endless entertainment, readily available food, and constant distractions are all designed to keep you docile and compliant. The weak embrace this comfort, retreating into their safe spaces whenever they encounter discomfort or challenge. They avoid risk, they shun responsibility, and they ultimately stagnate. Growth only occurs outside of your comfort zone. It requires pushing yourself beyond your limits, facing your fears, and embracing the unknown. It requires discomfort, struggle, and even pain. A life lived in pursuit of comfort is a life half-lived. It is a life devoid of meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. The strong seek out challenges, they embrace adversity, and they use discomfort as a catalyst for growth. The weak are also easily distracted. They flit from one shiny object to another, never focusing on any one thing long enough to achieve mastery. They are slaves to their impulses, constantly seeking instant gratification. They lack the discipline to delay gratification, to resist temptation, and to stay focused on their long-term goals. Focus is a superpower. It allows you to cut through the noise, to eliminate distractions, and to channel all of your energy into a single, laser-like beam. It is the key to achieving mastery in any field. The strong cultivate focus through discipline, through meditation, and through unwavering commitment to their goals. They understand that success is not a sprint but a marathon. It requires patience, persistence, and unwavering dedication. Furthermore, the weak underestimate the power of information. They passively consume whatever the mainstream media feeds them, never questioning the narrative, never seeking alternative perspectives. They are easily manipulated by propaganda, by misinformation, and by biased reporting. Knowledge is power. The more you know, the better equipped you are to make informed decisions, to navigate complex situations, and to protect yourself from exploitation. The strong are voracious learners. They read widely, they seek out diverse perspectives, and they are constantly challenging their own assumptions. They understand that the truth is often hidden, and that it requires diligent investigation to uncover it. Finally, the weak fail because they lack self-awareness. They are blind to their own flaws, their own weaknesses, and their own biases. They are unable to accurately assess their own strengths and limitations. Self-awareness is the foundation of all personal growth. It allows you to identify your blind spots, to correct your mistakes, and to leverage your strengths. The strong cultivate self-awareness through introspection, through feedback from others, and through a willingness to confront their own demons. They understand that self-improvement is a lifelong journey, and that it requires constant self-reflection and self-assessment. The truth bleeds through when you realize the comfortable lies are holding you back. You must embrace the uncomfortable truths and actively work to overcome your weaknesses to truly succeed. The Machiavellian approach recognizes that morality is often a luxury that the powerful cannot afford. In a world driven by self-interest and competition, adhering strictly to ethical principles can be a fatal weakness. This doesn't mean embracing evil for its own sake, but rather understanding that sometimes the ends justify the means. Consider the corporate executive who faces a difficult decision, laying off employees to save the company, or allowing the entire business to collapse, impacting even more lives. A purely ethical stance might dictate avoiding layoffs at all costs, but a Machiavellian perspective would weigh the consequences and choose the option that minimizes overall harm, even if it involves making uncomfortable choices. This isn't about being ruthless, it's about being pragmatic and understanding the realities of power. It's about recognizing that the world isn't fair, and that those who play by the rules are often at a disadvantage. The strong understand this, and they adapt accordingly. They are not afraid to make difficult decisions, even if those decisions are unpopular or morally ambiguous. They understand that leadership often requires sacrificing personal comfort for the greater good, and they are willing to do what it takes to protect their interests and achieve their goals. The weak, on the other hand, are paralyzed by their own moral constraints. They are afraid to step outside the bounds of conventional morality, even when doing so would be in their best interest. They allow their emotions to cloud their judgment, and they make decisions based on what feels good rather than what is effective. This ultimately leads to their downfall. Furthermore, the Machiavellian approach emphasizes the importance of deception and manipulation. In a world where trust is scarce, it is often necessary to conceal your true intentions and motives in order to gain an advantage. This doesn't mean engaging in outright lies or fraud, but rather understanding the art of persuasion and using it to your benefit. Consider the negotiator who is trying to secure a favorable deal. They might exaggerate their own strengths, downplay their weaknesses, and use emotional appeals to sway the other party. This isn't necessarily unethical. It's simply a strategic approach to achieving a desired outcome. The strong understand the power of deception and manipulation, and they use it skillfully to achieve their goals. They are masters of disguise, able to present themselves in whatever way is most advantageous in a given situation. They understand that appearances matter, and they are careful to cultivate a persona that inspires confidence and respect. The weak, on the other hand, are too naive and trusting. They take people at face value, and they fail to recognize when they are being manipulated. This makes them easy targets for those who are more cunning and ruthless. Additionally, the Machiavellian approach highlights the significance of cultivating a strong personal brand. In a world where competition is fierce, it is essential to stand out from the crowd and establish yourself as a leader in your field. This means developing a unique set of skills, cultivating a powerful network of contacts, and consistently delivering exceptional results. It also means carefully managing your reputation and ensuring that your actions are always aligned with your personal brand. Consider the entrepreneur who is trying to build a successful business. They need to create a compelling vision, attract talented employees, and secure funding from investors. To do this, they need to cultivate a strong personal brand that inspires trust, confidence, and enthusiasm. The strong understand the importance of personal branding, and they invest time and effort in building a reputation that precedes them. They are constantly seeking opportunities to showcase their skills and accomplishments, and they are always mindful of how their actions will be perceived by others. The weak, on the other hand, are too focused on their own needs and desires to pay attention to their personal brand. They fail to understand that their reputation is their most valuable asset, and they often damage it through careless or unethical behavior. Moreover, the Machiavellian approach recognizes that power is often fleeting and that it must be constantly defended. Those who become complacent and take their power for granted are likely to lose it to someone who is more ambitious and ruthless. This means constantly monitoring the political landscape, anticipating potential threats, and taking proactive steps to protect your interests. It also means being willing to use force, if necessary, to defend your position. Consider the political leader who is facing a challenge from a rival faction. They need to be vigilant in monitoring their opponent's activities, and they need to be prepared to take swift and decisive action if their power is threatened. This might involve forming alliances, launching propaganda campaigns, or even using force to suppress dissent. The strong understand that power is a constant struggle, and they are always prepared to defend their position. They are not afraid to use any means necessary to maintain their grip on power, even if those means are morally questionable. The weak, on the other hand, are too idealistic and naive to recognize the importance of power. They believe that good intentions and ethical behavior are enough to ensure their success, but they are often surprised to find themselves outmaneuvered by those who are more ruthless and pragmatic. The truth bleeds through when you realize the world rewards calculated action, not passive hope. Master the game or be played. Empires rise and fall on the same principles. The Roman Empire, for instance, didn't expand through polite requests and ethical considerations. It expanded through military might, strategic alliances, and a ruthless willingness to conquer and subjugate. Their legions weren't concerned with the niceties of international law. They were instruments of power projection, designed to enforce Rome's will upon the world. The internal politics of Rome were equally cutthroat. Senators plotted against each other, vying for influence and control. Alliances shifted like the desert sands, and betrayal was a common currency. Julius Caesar's rise to power wasn't a testament to his moral virtue. It was a testament to his strategic brilliance, his military prowess, and his ability to manipulate the political landscape to his advantage. He understood the game, and he played it with ruthless efficiency. Similarly, consider the Mongol Empire under Genghis Khan. His success wasn't built on diplomacy and compromise. It was built on military innovation, unwavering discipline, and a brutal willingness to inflict terror upon his enemies. His armies swept across Asia, conquering vast territories and leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. He understood that fear was a powerful weapon, and he used it to his advantage. The Mongols weren't concerned with the moral implications of their actions. They were focused on achieving their strategic objectives, which included the expansion of their empire and the consolidation of their power. This is not an endorsement of such actions, but a cold observation of how power dynamics function throughout history. The modern world is not so different. While overt military conquest may be less common, the struggle for power continues in different forms. Corporations compete for market share, political parties vie for control of governments, and individuals strive to climb the social ladder. The rules of the game may have changed, but the underlying principles remain the same. Those who understand power and are willing to act decisively are more likely to succeed. Consider the world of business. Companies that are unwilling to take risks, that are too concerned with ethical considerations, are often outmaneuvered by their more aggressive competitors. They might lose market share, fail to innovate, and ultimately go out of business. In the political arena, parties that are unwilling to compromise their principles, that are too concerned with appearing virtuous, are often unable to achieve their goals. They might be marginalized, lose elections, and ultimately become irrelevant. And in personal life, individuals who are unwilling to assert themselves, that are too concerned with pleasing others, are often taken advantage of. They might be passed over for promotions, ignored in social settings, and ultimately feel unfulfilled. The truth that bleeds through is that the world is not a meritocracy. Hard work and talent are important, but they are not always enough to guarantee success. Luck, connections, and a willingness to play the game are also crucial. Those who understand this are more likely to achieve their goals, while those who cling to idealistic notions of fairness and justice are often left behind. This doesn't mean that you should abandon your values or compromise your integrity. It means that you need to be realistic about the world and understand how power dynamics operate. You need to be willing to assert yourself, to negotiate effectively, and to make tough decisions. You need to be aware of the potential pitfalls and be prepared to protect yourself from those who would take advantage of you. The naive believe that the world operates on principles of fairness and justice, that hard work and talent are always rewarded, and that good intentions are always enough. They are often surprised and disillusioned when they discover that this is not the case. They are often taken advantage of by those who are more ruthless and pragmatic, and they often fail to achieve their goals. The strong, on the other hand, understand that the world is a complex and often unfair place. They know that power is a constant struggle, and they are prepared to fight for what they want. They are not afraid to take risks, to make tough decisions, or to challenge the status quo. They are willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their goals, even if that means bending the rules or making enemies along the way. The historical record is littered with examples of those who understood this truth. From ruthless conquerors to shrewd politicians to ambitious entrepreneurs, these individuals recognize that power is the ultimate currency, and that those who wield it effectively are the ones who shape the world. Consider the Medici family in Renaissance Florence. They were not simply wealthy merchants. They were masters of political manipulation, using their wealth and influence to control the city and shape its cultural landscape. They understood the importance of patronage, supporting artists and intellectuals who would glorify their name and advance their interests. They were also adept at forming alliances and manipulating political factions to maintain their grip on power. The Medici were not always virtuous or ethical, but they were undeniably effective in achieving their goals. Or consider the rise of the Rothschild family in the 19th century. They built a global banking empire through a combination of financial acumen, political connections, and a willingness to take risks. They understood the importance of information, developing a network of agents who provided them with early access to critical economic and political developments. They were also adept at navigating the complex political landscape of Europe, forming relationships with influential leaders, and using their financial power to shape government policies. The Rothschilds were not always admired or respected, but they were undeniably powerful in shaping the course of European history. The point is not to emulate these figures in every respect, but to understand the principles that underpin their success. They understood that power is not simply a matter of force or wealth. It is a matter of understanding the rules of the game and playing them effectively. They were willing to take risks, to make tough decisions, and to challenge the status quo. They were also adept at building alliances, manipulating political factions, and using information to their advantage. These are skills that can be learned and applied in any context, from business to politics to personal life. Ignoring this truth is a self-inflicted wound, a handicap in the arena of life. It's choosing to fight with one hand tied behind your back, while your opponents are playing by a different set of rules. The world doesn't care about your intentions, it cares about your results. And those who understand the truth about power are the ones who are most likely to achieve the results they desire. This is not a comfortable truth, but it is a necessary one. It is a truth that bleeds through the carefully constructed narratives of society, revealing the harsh realities of human interaction. Embrace it, and you will be better equipped to navigate the world and achieve your goals. Deny it, and you will be forever at the mercy of those who are more ruthless and pragmatic. The human mind is a complex battlefield, and understanding its intricacies is paramount to wielding any real influence. Society programs you to believe in fairness, justice, and the inherent goodness of people. These are comforting lies designed to keep you docile and predictable. The truth is far more unsettling. Human beings are driven by self-interest, ambition, and a primal desire for power. This isn't a condemnation, it's an observation. To ignore this reality is to walk blindly into traps laid by those who are less scrupulous. Recognizing this inherent drive allows you to anticipate behavior, to understand motivations, and to protect yourself from manipulation. The psychology of power revolves around understanding these base instincts and learning to navigate them effectively. Consider the concept of cognitive dissonance. People strive for internal consistency. When they hold conflicting beliefs or encounter information that contradicts their worldview, they experience discomfort. This discomfort drives them to resolve the inconsistency, often by rationalizing their beliefs or rejecting the new information. This is why it is so difficult to change someone's mind, especially on deeply held beliefs. They are not simply disagreeing with you. They are fighting against a psychological imperative to maintain their internal coherence. To influence someone, you must understand their existing framework of beliefs and gently guide them towards a new perspective, minimizing the cognitive dissonance they experience along the way. This requires patience, empathy, and a keen understanding of human psychology. Direct confrontation rarely works. It simply reinforces their existing beliefs and strengthens their resistance. Another key concept is the power of framing. How you present information dramatically influences how it is received. A glass half full is perceived differently from a glass half empty, even though the objective reality is the same. Politicians and marketers understand this implicitly. They carefully craft their messages to appeal to specific emotions and to shape public opinion. To be effective, you must learn to frame your arguments in a way that resonates with your audience. This means understanding their values, their biases, and their fears. It means presenting your ideas in a way that is persuasive and compelling, even if the underlying facts are the same. Mastering the art of framing is essential for influencing decisions and achieving your goals. It's about controlling the narrative and shaping perceptions. Furthermore, understanding the psychology of fear is crucial. Fear is a powerful motivator. It can paralyze individuals, but it can also drive them to action. Those who understand how to manipulate fear can exert tremendous control over others. This is not to advocate for the use of fear tactics, but rather to understand how they are used against you. Recognizing the underlying fear that is driving a particular behavior allows you to address it directly and to offer a more rational alternative. Fear can be a powerful tool, but it is also a dangerous one. Used irresponsibly, it can lead to chaos and destruction. Understanding its power is essential for navigating the world safely and effectively. The psychology of influence extends beyond individual interactions. It also applies to group dynamics and social movements. Understanding how crowds behave, how opinions spread, and how social norms are established is essential for understanding the broader forces that shape society. The concept of herd mentality, for example, explains why people often follow the crowd, even when it goes against their own better judgment. Understanding this tendency allows you to resist its influence and to make your own independent decisions. It also allows you to potentially influence the direction of the herd, if you so choose. Social engineering, while often used in a negative context, is simply the application of psychological principles to influence group behavior. Understanding these principles allows you to both protect yourself from manipulation and to potentially shape the world around you. Consider the phenomenon of authority bias. People tend to defer to authority figures, even when those figures are wrong. This is a deeply ingrained psychological tendency that stems from our evolutionary past. In tribal societies, obedience to authority was essential for survival. This instinct remains within us, and it can be exploited by those who seek to control us. Recognizing this bias allows you to critically evaluate the claims of authority figures and to make your own independent judgments. It doesn't mean that you should disregard all authority, but it does mean that you should approach it with a healthy dose of skepticism. Question everything. Verify everything. Trust your own judgment. The key takeaway is this: understanding human psychology is not just about understanding others, it's about understanding yourself. It's about recognizing your own biases, your own weaknesses, and your own vulnerabilities. It's about becoming aware of the psychological forces that are shaping your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. Once you have this self-awareness, you can begin to take control of your own life and to navigate the world with greater clarity and purpose. This is not a passive process. It requires constant vigilance and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself and about the world around you. But the rewards are immense. The ability to understand human